guys! So a couple of years ago I did a video on all of the different bound planners that I have, and recently a viewer asked if I would do an updated 2018 version, which I thought was a fantastic idea because there is nothing that I love more than bound planners and sharing the bound planner love. So this is going to be a super comparison of all of the different bound planners that I have for 2018. Obviously, there are a lot of other bound planners out there that I don't happen to have, so some of them I'll mention if I know of them, and you know, there is obviously an endless number that I don't have and can't include, but hopefully this will give a good picture of a lot of the great bound planner options out there if you're also a fan of bound planners. So we will go through them by category, starting with weekly planners because I feel like those are the most common, and then look at dailies and then look at monthlies. And within each category we will go through roughly in order of size. So in our weekly category, first up is the Hobonichi weeks. So most of you already know how much I love my weeks. This is the third year that I have one, and it's just a fantastic all-around on-the-go planner. It's particularly good to use as your portable planner that you take everywhere with you because it's so light. You can see here it's very small, very lightweight, very portable. In terms of size, it's kind of a B6 slim, so it's a little bit well, it's like kind of, I guess, halfway between A6 and A5 in terms of height, but it's quite a bit narrower. And you can see how this is the standard weeks. There's also a mega weeks that's come out for 2018, which I don't have, that is thicker, but this is the standard weeks, and you can see it's just really slim and portable, so it's fantastic. It's an on-the-go planner. And in terms of layout, it has month on 2-page spreads running for the whole year, and then there's also a bit of extra for future planning. And then it also has a vertical yearly spread right at the beginning, which you can use for tracking or very, very bird's eye view forward planning. And then it has the heart of the planner, which is a week on one page, the so-called verso layout. You have a week on one page, Monday to Sunday, with equal space for every day, which I absolutely love. And then you have a right-hand side, which is just gridded, and you can use that however you want to. So I'm using mine for day-specific to-dos and events on the left, and then a running weekly to-do list on the right. But there are all kinds of different options for this. Yukiko Sakamura has done a great video about this, showing you all kinds of different options for the weeks, which I will leave linked down below. And it's really good not only as a general all-round planner or a personal planner, which is what I use mine for, but also for more specific things like menu planning, because you can put the menu list for the week here, and then you can put shopping list on the right, and you can put recipes in the notes pages, which I'll get to, or a fitness tracker, or a finance tracker, or a gratitude journal. The options are really endless for this. So after the weekly spreads, you then have 70 pages of gridded note paper, which you can use however you want, and they're numbered, which is a really nice feature. So this is just a fantastic flexible planner with lots of different options, and it's really good if you want something that's light and portable. Okay, so the next weekly planner that I have is a new addition to my lineup. This is the Jolie Weekly Planner by Ziegel. This is not a very well-known planner, and I think it should be more well-known because it's really beautiful and it has a very nice functional layout. So it's a hardback planner. It comes in lots of different cover designs. I've just recently done a review of this planner, which I'll link down below if you're interested to see it more in depth. It has a horizontal week on 2 pages spread. This is the first one, which I have just decorated using mini Happy Planner stickers. The mini Happy Planner value pack stickers fit pretty perfectly in this, by the way. This is an A5 slim size, so it's A5 in, well, more or less A5 in height. It's actually a little bit shorter than a true A5. This is my Hobonichi Cousin, which is a proper A5, and it's a little bit narrower here, as you can see. So It's quite portable, it's quite light. If you see in comparison to the weeks, you can see it's a little bit thicker than the weeks, but still quite easy to have this as your on-the-go planner. It is a bit bigger. You can see the weeks in comparison. This is closer to an A5 size. And it has this horizontal week on 2-page layout, which also has equal space for every day, including the weekends. So that's great. And then it has a space for notes here, lined spreads. And a nice feature of this planner is that it has a lot of notepaper at the back. It has about 25 sheets, I would say, 50 pages of notepaper at the back. It also has a pocket, and a really nice feature is that it has a built-in pen loop. So if you're just looking for a nice, simple, horizontal spread that gives you equal space for every day, then I think this is a good option, because a lot of the similar planners, like the Moleskine Weekly Horizontal and the Leuchtturm Weekly Horizontal, have a shared weekend, which means that the weekdays have a bit more room. So you've got about, I'd say, that much room per weekday, but it comes at the expense of the weekends, and then you don't have the notes section, which I don't like as much. I prefer this layout. So just while I'm on this subject, I mentioned the Moleskine horizontal week on 2 pages, which is quite similar in that it also has a line spread, and you can get it in a similar size, the A5 Slim, but it has the shared weekend. And then the Leuchtturm horizontal week on 2-page planner, which comes in a true A5, also lots of different color options. It comes in hardback, so it's quite similar in a lot of respects. That one doesn't have lines, the Leuchtturm. So if you're looking for a horizontal week on 2-page spread without lines, that is a great option, but again, it has the shared weekend. So I think that this is a really nice choice, because I love having a separate space for each day. So that is the Jolie week on 2-page planner. And now we move into another really great option. This is the Erin Condren hardbound. So this is actually an 18-month planner. The Erin Condren hardbound planners first came out in 2017 with a July start. So this is a 2018 planner, but it runs from July of 2017. Now she has come out with 12-month options, so you can get one that's just for the calendar year of 2018. This is another horizontal week on 2-page spread, and the thing that's really nice about this one is that it's very colorful. So if you want something that already has a bit of design flair, a bit of color to it without having to decorate it yourself, then this is a great option, because every weekly spread in the month has a color scheme and it changes with the months, and then it has this design at the top, and there are a few different options that you can get. This comes in 2 sizes. This is the smaller one, which is similar to an A5. It's not quite A5. You can see again it's a bit narrower than an A5. It's actually almost exactly the same size as this one, so it's kind of like an A5 Slim, I guess. Slightly less portable because it's quite chunky. The paper is thicker. If you can hear that, how that sounds in comparison to the Jolie planner. So even though they're both week on 2-page spreads, it adds a little bit of bulk, and obviously the fact that this is 18-month then makes it thicker again. So you can see a nice feature here is that it has foiling on the side. So this one is silver foil, and there are also some that have gold foil and turquoise foil, depending on the design that you get. And this one, unlike this, or the weeks, has monthly spreads built in between the weekly spreads. So this one doesn't have monthly spreads at all. It does have this vertical yearly spread. And the weeks has the monthly spreads all at the beginning, which I prefer because I like to use my months for one particular thing. In my weeks it's for tracking, it could be for forward planning or whatever you want to use it for, but I prefer to have my months all at the beginning because then I know where to go to look at the months, and I can just go here, know that my months are here. If I wanted to do forward planning, I can just flip to the next page rather than having to look through the rest of the book. This is something that in disc-bound planners and coil-bound planners you quite often get tabs. So if you want to flip to the month, you flip to the tab. That is less common in bound planners in my experience. So when you have a bound planner like this that has the monthly spreads interspersed throughout the weekly spreads, that means that it can be harder to find them. So it depends on what you want to use it for. This I use as my expenses tracker, and I use the monthly spreads to keep track of my bank balance. So it's not so much a problem because usually if I've got the bookmark, so this has a single bookmark, if I have the bookmark in the weekly spread and I want to write down my bank balance, I know that the monthly spread is only a page or 2 pages or 3 pages behind, and it's not difficult to find it. But if I were using this as a more all-round planner and I wanted to be able to do forward planning and write down appointments, say, in my monthly spreads, then I would find it a bit inconvenient having to flip around to find each monthly spread interspersed throughout the weekly spreads, if that makes sense. So that's just my own personal opinion. I would prefer to have all the monthly spreads at the beginning so it'd be easy to find them. So that's just something to keep in mind, but a lot of people prefer this layout because they'd rather have the months together with the weeks, and I think probably a lot of that is just what you're used to. So I first started using monthly spreads in my Hobonichis, and because they had all the months at the beginning, maybe I just got used to that. So the Erin Condren is, this small Erin Condren is quite similar to the Jolie in that they both have a week on 2 page horizontal spread with lines, and they give you the same amount of space per day, and then you've got a notes section. So it's actually a really similar layout. If you see here, you've got Monday through Thursday here, Friday through Sunday here on the right, and then you have the notes at the bottom right. So one thing about these two is that this one is quite easy to get in Europe. It's a German company and it's very easily available, say, on Amazon UK and Amazon Germany, etc. Whereas the Erin Condren at the moment is more expensive and harder to get in Europe. You have to pay quite high international shipping rates. So depending on where you are, if you're in the US, then this is easier to get. But it's just a very nice, colorful option. And something else that I like about this planner is that it doesn't have a lot of extras at the beginning, so I think it's just very to the point. It has a yearly calendar, then it has this little 2-page spread that you can use for your visions for the year or for birthdays and important events, whatever you want to use it for. It's got 12 boxes, and then it goes straight into the monthly and weekly spreads. So I think that's really nice because a lot of planners like this one have quite a bit of extra information at the beginning, which I personally would be happy to do without, like international dialing codes and sizes and stuff like that. Another difference between these three, I guess, is that the weeks and the Erin Condren don't have an elastic to keep them closed, whereas this one does, and the Moleskine and Leuchtturm equivalents do as well. The Moleskine, the Leuchtturm, and this one are quite similar in a lot of ways, so I'm kind of grouping them together. Okay, and then we have the large Erin Condren. So this one is closer to a B5 size. It's quite big. This is how it compares to the Jolie and to the Weeks and to the smaller Erin Condren. So the Erin Condren hardbound comes in these 2 sizes, and this one is really much more of a stay-at-home on-the-desk planner because it's quite large and bulky. And it has a different layout to the smaller one. The smaller one has this horizontal layout, whereas this one has a vertical layout, and it's divided into 3 unlabeled boxes. So these, in these spiral bound Erin Condren planners used to be labeled morning, afternoon, evening, and a lot of people used them like that. This one just came out this year, and so, you know, the boxes are unlabeled, so you could use it for work, home, and personal, or you could use it for different people's schedules. It really is quite flexible, so I really like this layout. I use this as a home planner, and I use it for James and my whereabouts. Our dogs have the middle section, and then things that we're both doing, like if we have an appointment or an event or date night or that kind of thing, then that goes in this 3rd box below. So I really like this tripartite division that it has here. So This is, I guess, an issue with these is that depending on the size, that dictates the layout. So for this hardbound Erin Condren, you can't have a large horizontal layout and you can't have a small vertical layout, if that makes sense. So when you choose the size, that also determines the layout. The large planner also has a monthly spread, a month on 2 pages, interspersed with the weeks. So it's similar to this one, except that obviously it's a lot bigger, but it's the same layout. It's just, this is just like a larger version of this one. And this one is really quite roomy because it's such a big planner. So in both you've got a notes column on the right, and then you also have space for notes here at the bottom of the weekly spread. And then at the end, you get quite a bit of note paper. So you get some lined pages and then some dot grids and then some blank pages. And then you get a 2019 overview, and you get that in the small version as well, the note paper, and then also the overview for the next year, which is a feature that I really like because it means that you can do forward planning there. This is, by the way, something I should mention, sorry, just going back to this one. This is something that you get in the Jolie planner as well, which I think is a great feature. Let's see. Here, after your weekly spreads end, you get a whole vertical yearly spread for 2019, which is perfect if you need to do forward planning quite far in advance. So this is something that you don't get in the Hobonichi weeks, which I think is a shame. It gives you a couple of months into 2019. So you get up until March 2019 in a month on 2 page spread format, so that you can do some forward planning, and obviously you can use the notes pages at the back and allocate one of them for forward planning for the next year. But I think it's really nice the way that these planners all do it, to give you the option of having a built-in forward planning spread for the following year. So these are the bound planners that I have that are weekly only. They also all have months in some format or another. These ones have month on 2 page spreads, and this one has the vertical running yearly spread that you can use for noting down things for the months. But the heart of them is a week on 2 page spread. Now, we have a kind of bridge between weekly planners and daily planners, and that is my all-time favorite planner, hands down, the Hobonichi Techo. So this is actually 2017 Techo, and that's because it's the spring version which starts in April. So this runs until the end of March 2018, and so I don't have my new 2018 version to show you yet. Other than that, these planners are all 2018, with one more exception, which I'll show you in a minute. So as far as I can tell, the main difference between the 2017 version and the 2018 version is that the 2018 version has changed the calendar on the weekly spread. So the timeline. So I'll show you that in a minute. So the Hobonichi Cousin has basically every layout that you could ever want. That is my feeling. It has a vertical spread for the year. Then it has a month on 2 page spread. And is in the case of the weeks, that runs a little bit later. So this is the spring version, like I said, so it gives you an extra month into, so it starts in, I think, February of the year when the planner starts, and then it runs until the following May. Then it gives you a week on 2 page spread. And this is a vertical one, so this is different than the ones that we have seen so far, which have mostly been horizontal. So the Cousin, by the way, is A5, so this is a true A5. So as you saw before, it's a little bit bigger than the Jolie planner. And it's usually used with a cover, so I just took this out of the cover so that you can see what it looks like when you get it. And you could just use it like this. It has a cardboard cover. It's pretty sturdy, but it's really nice to use them with a cover, and you know, that makes it last longer. This has been in a cover all year, and you can see it still has had some wear and tear on it, just from mostly from transferring from one cover to the next, because I have done that a few times over the year. Anyway, so the week on 2-page spread is one of my absolute favorite things about the Cousin. Again, you get the same amount of space per day, which I love. It's a Monday start, Sundays are in red, and you have a timeline for every day, including Sunday, which I also really like, because a lot of planners that have hourly timelines don't give you a timeline for Sunday. So I think this is a fantastic layout. So on the left you have a space for notes, and the whole thing is gridded paper, by the way, which is something else that's really special about Hobonichi's, is gridded paper, and I absolutely love that. And also, I think most of you know this, but they have this very thin paper called Tomoe River paper, which makes it possible to fit everything that is in this planner in one portable book, which I will go over in a minute. So you've got your notes page, your notes column here, and then you have your daily pages. And as I said, in the 2018 version, this has been made into a 24-hour layout, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So I think it starts at 5 a.m. at the top, and then it runs until 4 a.m. down here. So you have a complete 24 hours. So if you work shifts, or you work late, or you're up late, or for whatever reason you want to be able to track sleep or anything, you can track 24 hours every day, which is great. Or if you wanted to ignore the late night hours, you could just use them for notes and just ignore the hourly markings, because they're quite subtle, I think. So this is great if you have a lot of appointments and if you want to be able to track your day on an hourly basis. It gives you 2 lines per hour. So this is the first of the planners that we've seen so far that has an hourly layout, an hourly breakdown. So you have 1 line per half hour, which is fantastic. Then, after the hourly spreads, the weekly spreads, the week on 2-page spreads, you have the whole year week on 2 pages. Then you get a whole year's worth of dailies. And I think that this is really what sets this planner apart, and what sold it to me, and what means that I could never go back to any other planner for my main planner, my work planner, is these daily spreads. So depending on what you are using this for, sometimes the daily spreads can be too much and people find them overwhelming and don't need them. That was what I found when I first got a Cousin, because initially I tried using it as a home planner and it just didn't work, because we didn't need the daily pages and we didn't even need the hourly spreads, so it really wasn't suitable for that. But then when I decided to try using it as a work planner, it was perfect. So it really just depends on what you want it for. Some people use the weekly spreads for planning and the daily spreads for journaling. I use it for a combination of work notes and daily work to-dos. So the daily spreads give you a checkbox, so 5 checkboxes at the top, which you can use for highlights of the day or your top 5 tasks of the day, or I just use this to write a headline and then I leave the rest of it blank, so a headline telling me what the page is about. And then you have a timetable, but the timetable is quite short. It goes from 4 a.m. until, well, it's 24 hours technically, from 4 a.m. until 4 a.m., but it only lists every 3rd hour. It gives you 1 line per hour, and so you see it says 6 a.m. and then 7 and 8 a.m. are just dots, and then it has 9 a.m. written out. So that's the way that it runs for the whole day. Personally, I don't find this useful. I don't feel like there's enough room to write appointments on here or to use this as my daily schedule, but I know that there are people who do and who use this for tracking time and appointments and other things. So the idea is that you use this for your appointments and then you use this and this for notes. And I just find it quite easy to ignore these, and I just use it for whatever I want to use that page for whatever it might be, if it's notes about a project or meeting notes or just daily to-dos. And there's enough room here that you can divide this into different sections. So often I divide it into things that I have to do while I'm in university, emails that I have to send, and then to-dos that I have to remember to do when I get home that are work related. So there's really a lot of potential here, and because you've got a day per page, you really can use this in all kinds of different ways. You could divide each day in half and use the top part for planning related stuff and then the bottom part for journaling or whatever you want to do. There's a lot of scope here. So that is the Hobonichi Cousin. And so this, to my mind, is like the perfect bridge between a weekly planner and a daily planner. And if you can't decide between the two, then this has got it all. And because it's so, it's got this lightweight paper, you can see that it's about the same thickness as the small Erin Condren hardbound, and yet this is just a week on 2 pages, whereas this has weeklies and dailies. So I just still find that incredible. After using this for 3 years, it still seems like a miracle to me. Not that there's anything wrong with, you know, having a week on 2 pages if that's what you want, because like I said, sometimes people don't need the dailies, but if you do need the dailies and you like having them, then I just think it's amazing being able to have all of that in this one compact A5 planner. So that is the Hobonichi Techo, and with that, so the Cousin, with that we move into the daily planners. And I have a whole giant stack of daily planners here. So first up on the list, again going in order of size, is a new arrival for 2018. It just came out quite recently. This is again from Hobonichi, and this is the new Hobonichi 5-year Techo. So the 5-year Techo, or 5-year notebook slash planner, is exactly what it sounds like. It runs for 5 years from 2018 till 2022, and it gives you 7 lines per year, and it's a day per page layout. So this is quite unusual as a daily planner, and I think that most people are going to be using this as some kind of memory keeper or tracker rather than as an actual planner, but you could use it as a planner if you just wanted to write down appointments and brief to-dos. And I quite like the idea of using it like that. There just is something really cool to my mind about having one planner that you carry around for 5 years, and it has all of your plans and all of your to-dos and everything in it, and then you can look over in the later years and see what you were doing that same day a few years earlier. I think that's great. So this is a very minimalist planner in terms of its layout, which I really like. It's again Tomoe River paper, so you have a lot in here for quite a compact planner. This is A6 size. So if we compare it to the weeks, you can see the weeks is a lot taller and slimmer. And this is it compared to the Cousin. So you get a yearly calendar for each year that the planner runs, and then it goes straight into the daily spreads. So I've talked more about this in detail in a walkthrough that I did of it recently, which I'll link down below if you're interested in seeing that. But basically you just have space to write a few to-dos and appointments on the left-hand side for the day, and then it goes into the same day on the same date on the next year. And you also have space on the right, which is a bit freer, that you can do what you want with. So you can again divide it per year, or you could just use it a bit more free form and, you know, write some notes or sketches or something, and not really divide it by year. And that's how the whole thing runs. So if this was to be used as a planner, it's a little bit on the chunky side. You could totally carry it around with you because it is just A6, so it's very small in that respect, but it is quite fat, which I really like, but it makes it maybe less convenient to put into your bag, because if you compare it, say, to the Hobonichi Weeks, which is really slim, you can just like slide that into a side pocket and you hardly notice it, whereas this one, it's quite a bit weightier. This is how it compares to the Cousin in terms of chunkiness. The Cousin, by the way, I carry this around with me pretty much every day. I take it with me to work and whenever I go anywhere that's work related. So it is possible to carry this around with you, but it is heavier than a lot of people might like. This one, I think, this is lighter and it is quite manageable if you're using this as your on-the-go planner. So I think if you were to use this as a planner rather than as a memory keeper, it would work if it's just your on-the-go planner for writing down appointments and some basic to-dos. So that is the 5-year Techo. Now we have a whole series of planners, which I'm going to put here because they come in different sizes, and I happen to have all of the sizes. And the first one is an A6 size, so you can see that it's a similar size to the Hobonichi 5-year techo. This is actually a proper A6 here. The cover is the same as the paper, whereas this one looks a little bit bigger, the 5-year techo, because the cover is actually, you know, makes it a bit taller and wider than the paper, but they're both A6 paper size. So I'm including these even though they're not 2018 planners. This is the other exception that I mentioned before to this video being about 2018 planners. And that's because these are undated, but I'm including them because they can be used as planners. So these are quite interesting. They are Stalogy 365 notebooks, and they come in 4 sizes: A6, B6, A5, and B5. So you really have quite a range. So you can see that the A5 is the same size as the Hobonichi Cousin. It's a bit thinner because it doesn't have the weekly spreads. And these are designed to be used either just as notebooks or as daily planners. So I'll show you what I mean with the B5 version because that's nice and big. So by the way, if you're curious, just a comparison to the Erin Condren large planner, you can see that the Erin Condren is wider, but it's pretty much the same height. So this is like a B5 and this is like a B5 wide, if there is such a thing. So it has this nice, flexible but durable soft cover. This is similar to the Moleskine and Leuchtturm soft notebook covers. It comes in different colors as well, but black was the only one I could get on Amazon UK. It has this grey end leaf here, and then it goes into a series of gridded paper daily spreads, and you can see at the top, quite faint, the whole thing is very unobtrusive. It has this grey printing which is quite mild. I really like it. At the top you have all of the months of the year, January to December, and then you have the days of the week, and then you have the days of the month. So 1 through 31, and you've got that at the top of every daily spread, so you can fill them in yourself if you want to. So this is essentially an undated daily planner. If you wanted to use this as a daily planner and note down the dates, you just circle the month, the day of the week, and the date if you want to, and then you can use that as a daily planner. So that's why I'm including them here. Another feature that they have, which makes them really appealing for use as a daily planner, is they have a timeline. So you can see here, quite faint, again, very easy to ignore if you want to. It starts at midnight, so it says 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So you get 2 lines per hour, just like the Hobonichi, and it goes down until midnight at the bottom of the page. It says 24. So if you wanted to, you could totally use this as a daily planner with a complete timeline. So I think that this is a nice compromise between a dated daily planner and a blank notebook. If you wanted to have a daily planner, but you wanted to have some kind of structure, and say you wanted to write your daily schedule down here, and then you wanted to have space for notes on the right, it's quite similar to the Hobonichi layout, but you don't have the pressure of feeling like you have to use it every day, because a lot of us don't need a daily planner every day. So in my case, for the Hobonichi Cousin, that's not an issue because, as I said, I use this not only as a daily planner for work, but also for work-related notes. So the days that I don't use as a planner, I fill up with notes and it's not an issue. But if you just wanted a daily planner, this is a really nice option, so you don't have to feel the pressure of unused dates in a dated planner. And it's also nice that it comes in so many different sizes, everything from A6 to B5. So you can also use it just as a notebook if you want to, and totally ignore the dates and the times, because like I said, they're printed in this very mild gray ink, and so they're not really noticeable. So those are all good options for undated daily planners. Now we have a dated daily planner. Again, this is the Moleskine Daily Planner 2018, hardback. And this is in Berry Rose, I think is the name of the color. This comes in a lot of different colors. It's hardback. It's a great planner. I used this as my main planner in 2014, and I really like it. It's got a monthly spread for the year, so a month on one page as opposed to the Hobonichi, which has a month on 2 pages. So I personally find this too small to be of much use. If this were my main planner, I wouldn't really be able to put much in it, except for you could use it, I would say, more for tracking or abbreviations, but you can't really use it for detailed planning, as opposed to the Cousin, where you get a month on 2 pages and you can actually fit quite a lot in it. You can see the difference in size there. This is just 1 month as opposed to this here, which is 1 month, one side of the page. This is, by the way, an A5 Slim, so you can see it in comparison to the Hobonichi Cousin, and here it is in comparison to the Jolie Planner. So they're pretty much the same size there. So you've got the monthly spreads, and then it goes into the daily spreads, and you get a day per page, including Sunday, which I think is really important because Leuchtturm, which again is quite a similar brand to Moleskine in many ways in terms of their planners and their notebooks, has a daily planner, but for theirs, Saturday and Sunday are combined, which again, I really don't like. I much prefer it when Saturday and Sunday each have their own individual day. So every day you get a layout including an hourly timeline. Is in the Hobonichi and the Stalogy notebook, you get 2 lines per hour. So it starts at 8 a.m. and then it goes until 8 p.m., which is much more limited than either Hobonichi or Stalogy. And that is something that bothered me when I was using this, because I tend to run quite late and I'm doing things often, you know, way after 8 p.m. that I would like to be able to write down. So I found that to be a bit annoying. You can use these last 2 lines here, which are supposed to be for weather and temperature. You can use them to extend it to 9 p.m. and even put something 10 p.m. in the bottom margin here, but I still feel like I would much rather have it run until midnight like the Stalogy and Hobonichis do. So this is quite a big layout. This is great if you want a daily planner with lots of room. You can ignore the hourly layout if you don't need that, if you just want to write to-dos. The only thing about it which I would change is that for Sunday it doesn't give you the hourly layout, and I think as long as they've gone to the trouble of giving you a full day on Sunday, why not just reproduce the hourly layout? Because, you know, you never know what somebody is going to want to do on a Sunday, and if you have the option of an hourly layout for the rest of the week, why assume that nobody will need one for Sunday? But it's not a big deal. You can always write it in if you need to. But that's the only thing to be aware of on this, that Sunday is slightly different than the other days of the week. It tells you the weekday, the number of the week at the bottom right of every page. And other than that, it's quite no frills. You don't have calendar spreads or anything else like that. It just carries on throughout the year. And then at the back, you have just a couple of pages for notes, just like 4 pages there. And you have a pocket in the back. I think so far the only other book that we've looked at with a pocket in the back has been this one. So the weeks actually comes with an adhesive plastic pocket that you can add in here, but it's not quite the same thing as this sort of a pocket. And it also has an elastic closure. So I think that this is, you can carry this around. I did carry this around when it was my main planner. It's a little bit heavy because it's hardback, I guess, and it's, I would say, compared to the Hobonichi Cousin, it's probably about the same weight. And so it is a little bit on the heavier side, but it is doable, and it's great if you want a daily planner that has quite a bit of room, but, you know, isn't gigantic. So if you want a daily planner that has quite a bit of room and is bigger and also has a lot of other cool features, then the Inkwell Press is definitely one to consider. So this is another new arrival for 2018. This just came out in autumn 2017, and this is the Inkwell Press coil-free daily planner. So you can see it says 2018 daily, and it has this really interesting binding which I have never seen on another planner. That's what the back looks like. It's Inkwell Press. It has this cover which is textured. It feels like tree bark. Really interesting, quite tough. I've never carried this outside of the house. I don't know how it would stand up if you were putting this in your bag and taking it around every day, which you could. It feels quite sturdy to me. It's a lot thicker than, say, the Hobonichi cover or these covers. So I think that it would probably be quite durable, but I can't swear to that. The thing that's interesting about it is, so it has this flap which you can use as a bookmark, and then the whole thing uncoils and you just get this long strip of paper and the binding is exposed, and it's supposed to be like this. So the idea is that she wanted it to be able to lay flat. I say she, Tanya Dalton, the owner of Inkwell Press, and this was the way that she came up with to ensure that it would lie flat, is to have the binding exposed like this so you can see all the stitching, and then to have the cover fold over like this. So this is a really unusual binding, and I think it's had something of a mixed reaction. Some people are fine with it and some people don't really feel comfortable with it. It is unusual. I am quite happy with it myself. I've actually been using it inside a cover. This is a perfect cover to fit the Inkwell Press planner. This is an A5 disc agenda cover from Doki Book. It's excellent. It fits this perfectly. So I haven't actually been carrying this around on its own, but I think if you leave this closed, you don't have an issue of it falling open or, you know, like the binding coming undone, or it's quite sturdy, and you can use this as a bookmark like this and it's totally fine. When you get to the middle of the book, I don't think it would work as well as a bookmark anymore. I haven't got that far yet, but well, that still looks okay. But you don't have a bookmark on the other side because the other side is stuck here, so that's how the binding works, if that makes sense. And the idea is that you're supposed to be able to use this as a pocket, so you could put a piece of paper in here and then close it like this and it would stay in there. So it doesn't have a pocket on the back cover, unlike the Moleskine, say. Anyway, so that's the binding. I haven't had any issues with it. I think it's fine, and it's kind of cool because it's so unusual. So this is undated, and in terms of size, it's like, as you said, it's quite a bit bigger than an A5. It's not as big as the large Erin Condren, so it's not quite a B5. It's like halfway between A5 and B5. It's about the same as this B5 in width, but quite a bit shorter. So maybe somewhat similar to the classic size Happy Planner, if that gives you an idea. But anyway, quite big. So you could carry this around with you, but I have been using this at home, and I think that that's what most people do because it is on the bulkier side. So you have this blank spread for important dates, which has got 12 spaces, so you can use it over 12 months. Then you have a space for goals, and then it goes straight into the daily pages. So let me just show you a blank one. It's undated, but you've got a space to write in the date, and you also have a space to write in the day of the week, which is nice because I think with a daily planner, a lot of us don't need one every day, and it's nice not to feel like you've got wasted space. But at the same time, it's kind of nice to be able to record the date just so that when you're flipping back afterwards, you can see what you were doing on a particular day, which I always really enjoy. Now, the thing that makes this unusual in comparison to the other daily planners that I've shown you is the way that it breaks things down by function. So this planner is very much focused on intentionality and prioritizing. So rather than just giving you a blank space and having you do what you want with it, it kind of informs how you're going to organize your day. So at the top you have today's focus, then you've got a few lines that say immediate, then you have important, and then you have insignificant. And then on the right hand side you have a schedule that goes from 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. So And then at the bottom you have a space for notes, and then a space that says today's accomplishment, a scorecard, and then 3 boxes at the bottom. So in terms of the layout, when I was first using this, I found it quite difficult to adjust to because I was used to just having a blank page to write to-dos down in any order that I wanted. Whereas here you're forced to think about what's immediate, what's important, what's insignificant. And that can be quite helpful because it can help you to say, okay, well, these things, maybe I won't get them done today, and that's fine if I don't. Whereas these things I really, really want to get done. I want to prioritize them, and these are just urgent, so I need to get them done straight away before I go on to doing the main things. That's how I use it anyway. And it's very nice having a focus because that just puts in your head straight away the idea that you want to get X done, or you want to make X the main point of your day. The schedule I really like having because I have never used a schedule in a daily planner before, and it can be quite nice having it because even if you don't make a lot of use of it, which I don't, because in most cases when I'm using a daily planner, I'm at home and I don't have a lot of appointments or any appointments, but it can be quite nice to say, okay, I'm going to try to work on these things until 12, and then at 12 I'm going to take my dogs out for an hour, and then it will be 1 by the time I get back, etc. So I quite like having it here on the same page. It's broken into 2 half-hourly columns, so you can say this is 10 to 10:30 and then this is 10:30 to 11, or you can use this for the appointment and then this for a bit more information or something. So I quite like that. As usual, I would prefer it to go later, and in my case it could start later, but obviously a lot of people get up much earlier than I do, so that's fine. I just wish that it kind of ran later, but it's not a problem because, like I said, if you're using this as a daily planner, then generally you will have some other planner with you, a weekly planner probably, that you have your appointments and things like that in anyway. So this is more just to give you an in-depth spread that you can use to focus on your day. So I think it's really nice how it gives you all of these different components rather than just giving you a blank spread. And if you feel like you would like something that is a bit more structured for a daily planner, then this is a great option. It also has fantastic paper, really luxurious paper. It's 140 GSM. I haven't been mentioning paper quality on the other planners, but the Stalogy notebooks have a paper which is very similar to Tomoe River paper. And the Tomoe River paper obviously is very thin, but, you know, fantastic quality. The Erin Condren is quite thick, but I think it's like 100 or 120 GSM. And I haven't actually been able to find details of how much it is, but it's something like that. This is really, really nice paper, very thick, doesn't bleed through. I've been using medium fountain pens. It doesn't bleed through or ghost at all. And it also has a really nice feel, and it just has a beautiful layout. So if you want something that is a bit more, not only more structured, but also has more of a design element than, say, the Stalogy or the Moleskine, which are quite neutral. You know, they don't have any color. They don't really, they have a nice aesthetic, but they don't really have any kind of design elements in the same way that this does. Then I think this is a really nice option. And it just goes like that for the whole year. It doesn't give you 365 spreads. I think that they're about 200 or something like that. So if you were using it every day, I think it would last about 6 months. But obviously the point is that a lot of people don't use a daily planner every day, and so I think it could well last you for a year. At 4 times throughout, so divided up evenly throughout the planner, you get this checkpoint with the classic Inkwell Press mission board with the hexagons that you also get in the weekly planner from Inkwell Press, which I don't have. So I can't show that to you, unfortunately, but there is a weekly version of this coil-free planner, if you didn't know about that, which looks amazing. So it has the hexagon spread on the left, and on the right it says plan and notes and focus, and it has quite a bit of space for writing here. So if you wanted to do some more in-depth note-taking or goal planning, you got a space for that, and then it goes back to the daily spreads. And then at the end you've got some habit trackers, and you have a 2018 and 2019 calendar. So this is quite useful, or it will be when 2018 starts, because if you can't remember what date it is when you go to write the date in here, then you can check it back there. And it also has 2019, so if you end up using this for more than a year, then that's fine as well. So I think this is a really good option for a daily planner. I should also mention, because being a Hobonichi lover, I would be remiss if I didn't, that Hobonichi also has an A6 daily planner. This is the Hobonichi original, and I didn't order one for 2018. So I just wanted to briefly show you my 2017 one in the unlikely event that you are not familiar with the A6 Hobonichi. So it's got the same month on 2-page spreads as the Cousin, but it's A6 size, and then it has the same daily spreads as the Cousin, but again A6 size. So if you want a smaller daily planner and you'd like it to be dated, then this is a great option as well. So we are now moving towards the end, and I have got one more category to show you, which is monthly planners. So I've only got one in this category. I'll mention the other similar ones though. So monthly planners are not as common. I feel like weekly planners followed by daily planners are much more common, but I have one monthly planner which I'm going to be using in 2018, so I thought I would show that to you. And there are a few others on the market as well. So this is a Moleskine monthly planner, and it's again an A5 slim size. It's a softback. As far as I know, this only comes in softback in black. And it's quite a simple concept, which is great for a lot of things like YouTube planning, social media tracking, things that are nice to have a monthly overview for. So you first get this vertical yearly spread, runs for a few pages, and then you get some information pages, as the other Moleskine planners all have. And then you have month on 2-page spreads going from January to December. So let me just show you a blank one. So this is April. So you have a Monday start, by the way, which is standard in Europe and in Japan, but not in North America. So the Erin Condren monthly spreads that I showed you start on Sunday, but the rest of the ones that I showed you start on Monday, like this. So month on 2-page spread, which has less room than the Hobonichi Cousin because it's a little bit smaller, but it still is, it's okay. You can do quite a bit of planning, not like super detailed unless you have very small writing, but you can definitely sketch out your month depending on what you want to use it for. And then it has a column for notes on the right. And then immediately after that, it has a double-page spread for notes. So I'm using this as my planner, as you can see, so everything to do with my planning hobby. So here I want to sketch out videos that basically make my plan for which videos I'm going to post in the month, when I'm going to post them. And then in the 2-page spread between the months, I'm going to keep lists of things like my planner lineups for the month, a planner wish list, and video ideas not divided by month. But you could use this for all kinds of things. If you just wanted to have this as an on-the-go planner, I think it would be good for that as well, because you could just keep appointments in here and then have a running bullet journal type list of to-dos here, and it's quite slim. So compared to the weeks, you can see it's about the same thickness as the weeks, a little bit thicker maybe, bigger footprint because it's A5. But if you just wanted to like kind of have an overview of your month and then just be able to keep a running list of to-dos, it's quite portable and quite slim. So I think it's a nice option for that, or you know, for something more specific like a social media planner. You could also use it for menu planning or fitness tracking, anything like that. I think it would be good for. Or expenses, that's another good one. So you could put your bank balance in here and then keep a running list of expenses for the month here. And then after the monthly spreads end, you then have about 50 pages of notes, which again you can use for anything that you want that's more long-term. So if you're using it as a finance planner, you could use this for, say, budgets and keeping track of more long-term finance things. And as usual for Moleskine, it has the pocket in the back. This pen loop didn't come with it, I added this. This is the Happy Planner pen loop. So in the monthly planner category, I should also mention that Leuchtturm has a monthly planner, which is similar to this, except it's bigger. It's B5 size. It comes in a few different colors. It's also softback like this. And it's different in that it has all of the months in one place. Also, in the Leuchtturm, the months are lined, whereas in this one they aren't. Although you can see through the lines from the surrounding pages, so you do actually have some structure, but it's not lined itself. And so in the Leuchtturm you've got all of the months together, and then you have note paper, so you don't have these lined pages between the monthly spreads. So similar concept, but quite different in terms of the size and the way that the lined paper is organized. The Leuchtturm also has numbered pages, and it has an index, which might be useful if you wanted to use it as your planner / bullet journal. So you've got all the monthly spreads, and then you could have collections and weekly spreads if you wanted to behind it. Whereas I think in the Moleskine, it more lends itself to having this as your, this is your monthly spread, and then you could divide this into 4 weekly spreads if you wanted to, but I think there's not a huge amount of room for that, so it doesn't lend itself quite as well to that as the Leuchtturm perhaps does. And also there is a monthly planner by Ziegel, which is the same company that makes these. It's not in this Jolie line, so it's much more streamlined, basic in terms of design. It doesn't have these pretty cover options. It just has a black cover option, and it has, as far as I know, I think it just has like 12 monthly spreads, and then it's got some note paper. So it's kind of like a fusion between the Leuchtturm and this one. So that is it for my 2018 bound planners. So we've got the monthly here, then we have a whole bunch of dailies, including these undated ones, and then we have the weeklies, and then we have the Hobonichi Cousin, which is kind of halfway between a weekly and a daily, or it's a magnificent fusion of both. So like I said at the beginning, obviously there are tons more bound planners out there, but these are a lot of my favorites. These are definitely all of my favorite brands represented here, except for Leuchtturm, which I have mentioned, but I don't actually have one for 2018 of any kind. Different kinds of layouts, horizontal, vertical, weekly layouts, and then you've got the daily layouts and the monthly layout. Hourly layouts, non-hourly, lined, unlined, etc. So hopefully this was helpful if you're thinking about getting a new bound planner, or at least enjoyable if you just like to see lots of bound plannery goodness. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!